Hello and welcome to Zkall's Fellow Video Guides, Part 2. Today we will be going over UI and macros. Okay, so macros, let's see, do I have anything useful here? I have my basic cat abilities, which I've added a /startattack to, and this is useful because if you have too low energy to attack and do your ability, you won't start auto-attacking. Therefore /startattack makes you start auto-attacking even if you don't have the energy to do this. Very useful. Other macros I have is, you have like what, 10 slots on your main bar, which change me, go to different forms. I needed more after a while, so I started making own modifiers, like here charge for example. If I'm in bear form I do bear form charge, and if I'm in cat form I do cat form charge. I will link these in the video so you can see them and you can copy them if you want. Nothing special. Here is a macro used for combat resing, which announces in the Druid channel that I'm resing the guy that I have on my Mouseover. It's a Mouseover res macro, which is useful because if you have to target someone and then press the macro, it's gonna take a little bit longer. We're talking milliseconds here, but every second counts when you wanna get them up quickly. And then here we have my Mouseover focus macro, which I simply mouse over and I focus the person. See, here is some guy. Nope, he disappeared. Oh, I use Mouseover and yeah, I focused him. And then I have a Cancellara macro that I use on all characters. It Cancelaura's common thing that I need to Cancelaura, such as parachute, frost imbue, rocket boots, yeah, hand protection, freedom, whatever, a lot of stuff which I use that because I think it's nice to have that. And not really much else I have added when it comes to macros. I have heals added as a Mouseover macros because I prefer to Mouseover heal, but you can use stuff like clicker for that as well. It works. Yeah, not really much more with the macros. So, what is it that makes a good UI? Is it the looks? No, a good UI is something that you feel comfortable playing with while bringing the functionality and the ability to see what's going on around you. It can look in any way as long as it doesn't look like this. Yeah. The unit frames, the most important part that you need to see how much energy you have and how much health you have. The one I use is called Pitbull, which I've moved down to the middle-ish on my screen. This is important so you can keep track of your health while looking on your character and see what's going on there, so you're not standing in a void zone or whatever. In order to track combo points, I use an add-on called UIM combo points, which also is in the middle of my screen-ish. Buff/debuff timer. This is important to have not only for your DPS abilities but also for survival. You can use them in any form, ranging from bar to icon timers. I use a variety of those too. For tracking Rake, Drip and Savashore, I use an add-on called Class Timer, as I like to see these abilities in a timer. For tracking buffs/debuffs I use Power Auras. I also use this for Berserk duration, amongst many other things. Power Auras is a wonderful add-on which I'd recommend everyone to get. In the topic for these videos I will post the Power Auras that I use so you can import them. I also use another bar timer based add-on which I use to track Tiger's Fury, and that is called Need to Know. The main reason I use that add-on, Fog, is for tracking internal cooldowns such as trinket procs, weapon procs, etc. The add-on I use for my bars is called Bartender, where I have hidden most of the bars that I have, as I remember the bindings without looking at them. A threat meter is also a necessity for raiding, so you don't pew too hard and die. The one I use is Omen. As a DPS, I personally like to see what DPS I'm doing, so I use Zkall for keeping track of that. It's a very lightweight add-on, and I truly recommend it. I was running Recount for a long time, but after swapping to Zkall I saw quite some improvement. Combat text is another nifty thing. You want to see what damage you do, Some people like to use the default Blizzard one, where numbers pop up over the mob you do damage to. Maybe it looks nice, but however, I'd recommend you go for a scrolling combat text, because when you're AoEing, and if you have the default Blizzard one, it will clutter your screen and you will not see shit. So go for a scrolling combat text. The one I use is MSBT. Another thing I've configured MSBT to do is give me a big ass warning whenever I use any of my abilities and they miss. This way it's kind of retard proof, so you'll notice when you miss. I also turned off showing overhealing taken, and buff/debuff gain. It's spammy and it's not relevant for me to see. If I get a debuff, I add them to power auras so that I can make sure that I know I got this thing, I need to move away, I need to do whatever. And the boss mod, of course. You want to keep track of what's going on in our raid instance. I'm currently using Bigwigs, but there's many other good boss mods out there and you can use any of them. Another good boss mod is DBM, for example, Deadly Boss Mods. It doesn't matter which one you use as long as you have one at least. Raid Cooldowns Trackers are useful to have as well, so you can keep track of your Druid body's cooldowns on combat reses. I currently use Aura Free for this. And let's not forget about Grid, which is a raid frame that we use to track health of people and shit. Personally, I've added a modifier that gives a big Mark of the Wild icon when a person is missing that buff, so that way I can easily see if someone is missing it. Quartz is a casting bar add-on which I use to see my cast and the enemy's cast and such. And then there is nameplates as well. There's a lot of good nameplates out there, like title plates, thread plates, aloft. I personally use Blizzard ones default, and that's because I'm so used to them that I cannot swap. Error filter I use to remove the "can't do that yet" spam, which happens if you're spamming your abilities, which I'm sure you do, as am I, hence the add-on. I also use another add-on called Move Anything. This is useful to move/hide irrelevant elements of the UI, such as achievement spam for example, not relevant to see. And for my map I use an add-on called Sexy Map, which I use because it looks kind of better than the default one and I can filter out the things I don't want to see better. So yeah, that is it for add-ons. On the next video we will talk about itemizations, enchants and reforging. And remember to subscribe.